Welcome to Failing Forward. This show is all about the other side of success. We talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators who aren't afraid to share the mistakes they've made. Because if there's one thing I know for sure, it's this. Every setback is just a setup for something bigger, if you're willing to learn from it. All right, welcome to Failing Forward, where we explore the hard lessons that come from our biggest setbacks and missteps. I'm Tim Petrey, the CEO of HD Growth Partners. And today I'm sitting down with Steve Cross, founder of iSynergy in Canfield, Ohio. Steve's got a story that has always resonated with me. We've spent some time together on and off throughout the years, pretty far back.
Yeah, wow.
And I've learned some extra little tidbits about Steve along the way in preparing for today. So excited to have you with us today, Steve.
I appreciate you having me on. I've never been so excited to talk about my failures before in my life. So what better place than a public forum like this?
Yes. Yeah. Let's just broadcast it for the entire world to hear it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Everybody tends to be pretty comfortable with this process.
Yeah. Everybody that pretends they don't have the failures along their way, they're just masquerading as something they're not. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of this exercise, is that the world that we live in, the social media world that we live in, everybody just sees the good stuff. Mm-hmm. They see the nice car, they see the nice house, they see the, cool glasses, whatever else, and they're like, I wish I had what Steve had, not knowing the hell that you had to go through to get here.
That?
Yeah.
The overnight success that takes 10 years.
Right?
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, so to give everybody a little bit of background on you, Steve, originally a physics major who interned at NASA, like me, took over a business quite young, around 25 years old. Yep. And now you've built a flat organization with no managers right here in Mahoning Valley. Your agency won the 2016 Webby Award, which, for those of you that don't know, in the marketing space is a very big deal.
Yeah, it's about the best award you can win in the U.S.
Which is wild. I mean, right here, right in our backyard in Canfield, Ohio, getting some national recognition is quite remarkable. And it's what's interesting, I think, for us to talk about. There's so many people that are just focused on growth, grow. I got to grow the top line. I got to get bigger. I got to have more employees. It's not always the path to success. Sometimes that path to success is, getting to the place that you want to be, and that's not always bigger. Sometimes that's just better, and that's zeroing in on understanding what you do and what you do well, and having the right people together to get it done. So let's take a step back here. I like to have you give us a little bit of the origin story, the Steve Cross superhero origin story. All right. Let's go all the way back, physics and math at BW. But even before that, where'd you grow up?
I grew up Columbiana County. Ohio. Went to Crestview High School.
Our second Crestview?
Yeah.
Grad here?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At least two.
Right. Hickman.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just breeding them down there.
Jeez, oh man.
Something in the water.
Yeah.
Yep. Grew up down there. I was the large family, youngest of five. Parents, I didn't have any type of obstacle. Middle class. My mother was a nurse. My dad was a machinist, was really heavily involved with the union. That's where he retired from. So like I said, I don't have that, wow, I had to make it out of here.
Yeah,
I don't have that story, which sometimes makes me feel a little too entitled. So I try not talking about it too much, but I screwed up my life enough to make my own hurdles. So.
I've had somebody tell me that before, that their biggest disadvantage was that they didn't have a disadvantage. And I always thought that was fascinating because, for me, my disadvantages is what shaped me and what, gave me a competitive advantage. And I worry a lot about my kids not having those disadvantages to sharpen them along the way. So it's interesting that you say that, is that, similarly, your biggest disadvantage was that you didn't have a disadvantage.
Yeah, I like how you bring up the kids too, because a lot of times whenever I'm telling my story or talking about business at all, I always, I don't know why, maybe it's just because it's easier for me, relate it to how I run my family or raise my kids, not run my family, with my wife, you know what I mean? She does most of it, but it's a very easy association for me of family and business.
Yep.
And it's very similar.
There's a lot of overlap in that world too. Especially if you're good at both, right? Or you're trying to be good at both. It's not perfect, I'm sure, all the time, but it's tough.
Yeah.
You got to make some tough decisions in both of those worlds all the time, right?
Yeah, and there's key traits that transcend both, right? Just communication, compassion, strategy, drive, motivation, work ethic. That's where it all comes from.
Not being a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Depends on who you ask.
yeah, right.
All right. So Crestview, were you like a math nerd at Crestview? Were you just sitting in the corner banging out math problems? I mean, what?
I was not banging out math problems. No. I was the student that never lived up to his potential. I probably got in more fights in school than I did A's, for sure. But along the way, I also had academic scholarships to colleges. Like I was the kid, I got A's on every test. And the reason why I got A's is because I didn't do homework. Yeah. So I got F's and zeros on homework. So it averaged out to like a C plus, B minus type of, and I'm like, I'm not going to do homework if I can still get by.
Yep.
So that was
What's
kind of
the
my
incentive for that,
yeah.
right?
So then, I hit the ACT, so I forget what I got on it, but that's what catapulted me to all the scholarships.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't my GPA. It wasn't discipline. It was just God-given knowledge, talent, I guess. And that's about it.
Did you feel like when it came time to take a test was like your opportunity to like show off? Like that was the time where it's like, okay, I can prove to everybody that I can do this. And we had a good conversation with Chris Jaskowitz about this too, like where he was not really an ideal student growing up. And when it came time for test taking, he was like, all right, now's the time that I have to prove that I can do this. Like I was always pretty similar in school. I didn't love the minutia of school, but I liked taking tests. Like,
yeah. It was definitely, I saw it as, I was an athlete. So I saw it as game time.
Yeah. Yep.
That's exactly what it was for me. And like I took back before it was popular. I grew up in the 90s. So
in the 1900s,
right.
As the kids say now.
Yeah. So I only went to high school half a day at my junior and senior year.
Yep.
I went to Kent.
Yep.
The other half, that post-secondary, which wasn't too popular back then.
No, that's
now
early
it's
for
like,
that.
Now it's extremely popular. So that was the other thing. Like days I didn't have class, I went home, took naps. I'd come back in for practice after when everybody else was getting out of school. But there's advantages and disadvantages. That obviously I could get good grades without really trying.
Right.
The disadvantage, which I wasn't ready for, is when you go to college and that's not the case. You can't just show up and take tests. Right. Like attendance, geez, oh man, just that alone.
Gotta show
terrible. Up in college, right?
I never understood that. You're paying them,
right?
And they're docking you for not showing up. I mean, you should make the class commensurate with having to show up if it's really that important to pay for.
One of my favorite moments in college was, I was working full time in school, going to YSU. And if you remember, like the scheduling process in school, like it was terrible. Yeah, like it was the worst process to
especially
try to schedule.
In
In
the 1900s.
the 1900s, especially.
So different now, I'm sure.
And so I had to get like overrides scheduled so I could schedule multiple classes at the same time because I didn't want to wait another year or whatever to get those electives done. And I took macroeconomics and PR at the same time. And naturally, I went to macroeconomics more than I went to PR because PR was basically a class about common sense. And so I got an A on every test in the PR class, and I got my grade at the end, and I got a B. And I remember going to the guy, and I asked him, I'm like, why did I get a B? I got A's on everything. And he goes, well, you didn't show up to class. I said, it's not my fault. That your class was easy enough that I could just show up and take the test and get an A. And I'm like, if you're mad about the fact that you didn't make your class hard enough for me and I still got an A and you wanted to give me a B, then so be it. Like, it really doesn't matter. My GPA doesn't mean that much, but like, I got A's on everything. I deserved an A.
Yeah. Don't hurt me because you aren't good enough.
Right. I mean, come on, man.
It's like a Goodwill Hunting situation. Yeah. Talk about like, for, $3 in late fees, you can get some education, right?
I mean, give me the syllabus. What dates do I know I need to show up? And then, is there an attendance record? Like, shit. All right. That was it.
And I can see why college and post-secondary education environment doesn't work well for certain people. You know, the Elon Musks and the Bill Gates of the world, like I could see why they would just be like completely resistant to that, because they're like, no, I learned it in a week. I don't need 3 months to learn
the
this.
other 8.
You know, like I could just move on to something else. Now, I was not anywhere near that, obviously, but like still, I still find that quite fascinating. So you end up, ACT score, propels you into getting financial assistance scholarships. You end up at BW.
Yep.
Which is that Tressel's alma mater, BW? He had some heavy involvement there, right?
I don't know. His dad was the coach there.
His dad was the coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he actually graduated from there, but there's still Trestle Way is a street up there.
Yep.
Yeah, very well known. But yeah, so there's a strong tie in there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So did you start taking it more seriously when you got to college? Like at that point, you decided to zone into physics. You picked physics.
Yeah, because it was easy. Math, physics, they were the easiest things. I remember, and I won't use names, but I remember in our physics classes in high school, we would have half the class cheating off of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you guys cheating off of me? You're like the valedictorian.
Right.
But it was just easy for me.
It
was
worked
just
for
easy.
you.
Yeah, it made sense. It was just comfortable for me. So, I didn't know what I wanted to do with life. The only thing I knew growing up, and this will give you some insight into my personality, and I was thinking about this before walking in here. The only person I think I've ever told this to was my wife a couple years back. I just wanted to be the very first person to do something. I didn't have a career in mind.
Yep.
I didn't have an objective. That was like not as a
very first person from Crestview.
No, the very first person on earth to do something. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So with what I was good at, and so I just gravitated towards, well, what's the frontier out there? It's space. Mm-hmm. That's the easiest place and easiest way for me to do something that no one else has ever done.
Right.
And that was it. Like in high school, there's probably people, they won't remember, but I used to tell people I'm going to be the first person to do something.
Yep.
And everybody would be like, in high school, they're like, where are you going? What are you doing? All that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. But all I know is I'm going to be the very first person in this world to do something.
Yep.
And that was my goal. And that was kind of like my path where I thought it would happen.
That says a lot about a personality too, because you hear that a lot. I'm like, I want to be the first person in my family. They have those qualifiers on there. You're just like, first person, period. That's pretty different from what most people experience.
Yeah, blind confidence.
Ambition. I mean,
stupidity, whatever you want to label it.
Why limit yourself, right?
So
ultimately.
How did you end up landing the NASA internship?
It actually wasn't difficult. It was.
That's kind of
nothing is.
My advisor at BW was the president of Ohio Teachers Association. So he used to write. Professor Dick Little used to write the math questions for the ACT tests. He sat on boards at Ohio State. So I went to BW on a 3-2 program. I was going to BW for 3 years for physics, math and physics, double major. And then I transferred to Ohio State for my final 2 years. So I'd have three different degrees after 5 years, math, physics, and aeronautical engineering.
Okay.
Him and I hit it off. He really liked me. That was the only class. His classes were the only ones that I religiously went to all the time. And he asked me what I wanted to do, and we were having a conversation. He's like, I know somebody. There's an internship. You want it? And I'm like, yeah, what do I got to do?
Yep.
And I was probably, looking back, I probably didn't fill out the application. I was probably late on the application if I did, because I didn't take it serious.
Yep.
But it was one of the coolest experiences of my life, getting to go there for a few weeks.
Where was it at?
Right by the airport in Cleveland, Lewis Research Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's one of my favorite things to tell, like our young staff at the office and the people that I interact with at YSU is like, you never know that one interaction could change your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just so happened to be a professor that you clicked with, that you kind of fell in love with whatever topic you're in. And
I actually despised him as a professor.
Yeah.
Just the way he taught. Like he was one of those old school, like I just still remember, like if somebody fell asleep in his class, He'd just sit back there and just throw chalk at him until he hit him or until somebody woke him up. And I'm like, this dude's great. And those hard class, they're always the 8 a.m.s, the 7:55s.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You don't get those at 11.
Yeah.
You know,
The only
like,
C I ever got was the law class I took at 8 a.m.
terrible.
Cats.
Yeah. I couldn't make it. Sorry.
Yeah. So like I had to be there.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's also my advisor.
Sure. Yeah.
So I couldn't just take it easy.
Well, and I'm sure the poor guy had a rough childhood. I mean, his name was Dick Little.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's something.
We
there.
glazed over that real
Yeah.
quick. I kept thinking
I knew you couldn't let that happen. I was like, I had to bring that one
at
back
least
to the
one
front.
more time.
Yeah.
But he well respected. Like I talked to my my math teacher in high school, and I'm like, "You ever heard of this guy?" And she's like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
he's the
knows
guy.
him."
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, kind of cool." Yeah, so that's had my foot in the door there. I still have relationships with people that were there then, oddly enough, because I'm at the core. I'm not really great at a whole lot of things, but I feel like I am good at is relationships.
Yep.
And being interested in a person and investing in them, and that's just what I expect back, and that's kind of how I have my network built over time.
Yep.
From 30 years ago. No, I'm not that old. 20 some years ago. So yeah.
That's a great lesson. I mean, I tell all the younger staff at our office too the same thing. Whether in the grocery store or at a networking event, whatever that is, like a genuine interest goes a long way for people.
Oh yeah.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Especially in our area.
Yeah, we have a lot of it. I think we're a little bit spoiled too.
I agree.
I love it.
I mean, I think that to me, I've done a lot of thinking about this over the course of the last couple of months in terms of trying to bottle up and package up the things that have helped me create a successful career and be able to then teach others how to do the same thing. Right. So I think that there are people like yourself, Steve, and people that we've interacted with in our community that have this like relentless pursuit of generating value. And it's a pursuit of generating value, not only, for your company, it's for your clients, it's for your people around you, it's for your family, it's for your community. And like that is how the laws of attraction work, is that you are naturally attracted to people that produce value in your life. And you want to be around those people, you want to work with those people, you want to talk to those people.
For sure.
And whether it's marketing or accounting or selling water, building rocket ships, whatever, like if you're in that relentless pursuit of bringing value, then people are going to want to have you around in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Not just nominal value either. I mean, I'm not talking to someone who's going to make money off of them in the future. It is
Key.
Like it makes us all better when we get to communicate. We have these different kinds of people having conversations all the time. That's the real generation of value in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those relationships, and you hit it. It's giving without the hope of receiving.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yes.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yep.
And I just brought this up. I had a guy text me and call me last week. I haven't talked to him. It's been just out of COVID. So 5 years.
Yeah.
Nothing. And text me, Steve, need your help. And I'm like, huh. And I think that it was just this new thought that I have. I told Mackenzie, I'm like, I think that is a key indicator of a good network. When you can go 5 years without having any connection, not even like liking a LinkedIn post.
Yeah. Right.
Nothing.
Yep.
And they still have you in their mind when they need something. You're one of the first ones that they text or call. I'm like, that to me makes me feel good. Like, when I was interacting with him on a daily basis there for like 6 months during a project, he understood that I was authentic and wanted to help, and I was going to do the best thing for him.
And he just
felt
now
good.
happened to have an opportunity that he knew he could,
5 years
bring
later.
in. Yeah. That stuff sticks with people.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go to war with someone or you go through something that's difficult, like you remember that person was by your side. And it is weird how people just kind of reemerge, after some period of time.
It gets busy, obviously, right?
But it's good for you. Like you think of it too. You're like, you talk to somebody and you might not have a need for somebody in your network, but you're like, I got a guy.
Yep.
There's somebody you need to talk to. And then what do? You put them together.
Yep.
You do it. I do it.
It's the connector. And when you talk about that, I mean, some of the strength-based management theories and different things like that, everybody's good at a little bit of different things, but the connector is one of those hot topics. I know in the Gallup, poll that they have, that is a driving force in what I do. I love making those connections. You just step back and let people run.
Feels
with it.
good.
Yeah, it really does. Like I didn't do anything, but there's still some success happening.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's talk about the period of time between NASA internship, because you're not still building rockets today, at least not,
Different kinds.
And then obviously ending up with iSynergy. There was some things that happened in the middle there. And I think that's where a lot of the good stuff happens in our conversation, right? So you went from the NASA internship to sales jobs, and then ultimately end up starting your own thing. What was the biggest mistake or failure that you went through in that period? So, from the day that you walked out of the NASA internship to the day that you fired up iSynergy, can you identify something that happened in those years that was a big learning moment for you?
Yeah, well, the catalyst, coming out of college, I worked a lot of construction for like 5 or 6 years. It's not on my LinkedIn. It's not on my resume, right? It's just what I knew. I grew up working.
Yep.
You don't want people asking you for help either.
Right?
Honestly, I get it. Yeah, 100%. So you have a truck.
More projects at home for my wife. But yeah, so that was easy. I enjoy doing it. Still like a hobby. I enjoy working with my hands. But when I realized, I'm like, I got to get out of this. I need to, without sounding like I have an ego, I thought to myself, what am I doing here? I'm really good at what I do, but I'm destined for more in this life. I should be doing more in this life. I owe it to myself. I owe it to my parents, who probably are looking at me going, this is what you were settled on.
Yeah, you were supposed to be the guy that did the thing first. And now you're hammering nails.
Yeah, exactly. So I conned my way into some sales jobs, just talking, did that. Water, you saw that. A couple other different sales stops. And then I worked at an R&D firm over in Pittsburgh. And over there, it's R&D, very security driven.
Okay.
Fob getting in, computers are locked down, a lot of different things. And this was, 20 years ago. And I remember the day where I was like, I'm done. Middle management, can't take it. I clocked in, didn't even clock in. My fob to open the door. They looked at your clock, your time, you walked in the door. It was like 8:03, 3 minutes late. I don't show up to work late. I grew up with a work ethic, especially on a construction site. If you're supposed to start work at 7, you get there at 6:30, your toll belt's on at 5 till 7, and you're ready to work at 7. You don't show up at 7. I took that mindset to my entire career. I get an email half hour after I'm getting there, very leveraged, because they knew I didn't have a degree. I wasn't qualified for the position. I was great at it. I'd been there for a year and a half, 2 years. Mr. Cross, can you explain to us why you were 3 minutes late today? And we need to know, just leveraging me, like if this is going to be your behavior moving forward, blah, 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 blah. Which rubbed me the wrong way.
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I intend to be 3 to 4 minutes late every day for the remainder of my career.
You can start being ready for that. But
it's a very office-based kind of
it's exactly what it is. And so I stew on it for probably a good 30 seconds, and I'm just like, is this the type of micromanagement and oversight that I'm going to have to get used to moving forward in this company?
It was the beginning of your unemployable era.
Yeah. And he emailed back and copied his boss and said, yes. Fair enough.
Yep.
See you.
Keep fobs on the table, ready to go.
Left my stuff there and walked out.
From in that moment, was that when you started doing the IT work?
Yep.
So, because iSynergy originally was not a marketing agency.
Correct.
iSynergy originally was an IT company.
IT, technology.
Were you doing like break fix, network stuff?
Some at its core, for people to understand. That's what it was. Yep. And it was at 2008 right in the perfect time to quit a six-figure job
Absolutely.
when you don't have a college education and you don't have a professional network to lean on, and you don't have any experience as an entrepreneur or a business owner. I had the perfect platform for success.
Yep.
And you can tell it was probably just a nice linear slope for success.
No, buddy, I feel you there, man. I mean, I got out of college in 08, 09. Started at our firm and didn't get a job anywhere else. Started answering the phones at the front desk. It was not an ideal starting moment. But again, like we talk about that disadvantage being not having a disadvantage was your disadvantage. That ultimately created that disadvantage for you. Was that you started off in a really poor time. And if you can survive in 08, 09, you're good. Like that's what I learned from the early years of our business was we built something that was viable in a really bad time. And I didn't know it then, but once we got to the good times, things were going to be really, really good as a result of being able to survive in the 08s and 09s. So how long did you go? Because IT makes more sense, from my perspective with your background, the physics and the math and whatever, how long were you doing the IT work? So you started in 09.
Couple years.
Yep.
Yeah, and I did sales, had my first hire, and then she started actually doing the work, Michaela. And then from doing the sales, learning more.
So Michaela was your first hire?
Employee number one.
In the IT company, still the head dog now?
Yep, she's my EVP, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, 16 years in.
So let's talk about the pivot. Because I'm fascinated by this because they couldn't be more different from an outsider's perspective. Like when most people think marketing agency, you think creatives and artsy people and this, that, or the other, and they're making cool ads and this, that, or the other. But iSynergy is not that you guys don't do that kind of work, but iSynergy, from my perspective, has always been the place that I look at when people come to me and say, I need a data person. I need a marketing engineer more than I need a marketing firm. Yep. And that's kind of always been, at least in my view of what iSynergy has been.
Exactly what it is. And that's probably my unintentional fingerprint on the company because that's where I come from. I'm not a creative person.
Yep.
I'm very good at seeing something creative and being able to adapt and edit it to make sure it's hitting the bullseye and hitting the mark. But I'd look at a blank page even to write a blog. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I can't do anything like that. But where it was the heyday of SEO, and that's where I found my traction.
Right. It was Google.
Yeah, we started doing websites, which was simple. When you do IT, and it's very similar in your world when you do accounting, if somebody trusts you to do that, they have to trust you almost with their entire company.
Correct.
Because you, accountant, bookkeeper, you touch everything. Same thing with IT. You see everything because almost every small to medium business, the owner, the entrepreneur, CEO, has their personal commingled with their business stuff everywhere, right? And they're like, I don't know what my password is. Can you log into my Gmail and do a reset for it? That's just what happens.
Yep.
So there's a level of trust. So then people start, and just like we talked about earlier, they start asking you, well,
what else can you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or who else can you connect me with to achieve these goals? And that's where I saw a spot in the market, a void.
Was anybody else doing that? I mean, around here that
there were,
like you were?
Not like us that I know of. Yeah. This is another one of my great disadvantages is that I don't have agency experience except for my own.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell everybody else does.
We'll try it, see what happens.
I don't know. I have only ever heard of the horror stories because that's all I ever hear about it. Yeah. Because people walk into my office and are like, so-and-so did this or they did that. So all I ever hear is the bad things. Because nobody ever walks into my office and are like, Company A, I love them. They were great.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Right? I never hear that stuff. So I didn't know. But that was, I thought, going back to 08, I thought if I can make it now, I can make it through anything.
Right.
And that was, I got home, told my fiance at the time. She had a few choice words like, what were you thinking? My future and father-in-law, I remember that weekend having him over for dinner and he's like, you did what? Like, I think I fell on the totem pole
Yeah.
real fast. I wasn't real high to begin with. I went to ground floor real quick on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just an uphill struggle from there. I just set myself up for struggle.
Was there a moment or a client interaction with the IT company that you said, "Oh, we need to start doing the marketing work"? Like, what was that? What was the moment that caused that pivot to go from IT to marketing?
I think in our market, most of the agency owners that I knew of were very traditional based PR agencies that were trying to adapt and move into the digital space.
Right.
We started in the digital space and adapted to the marketing and added the marketing services to our skill set, to our tool belt. And I developed our SEO program and our SEO strategies and tactics from the ground up. So I remember talking to one other agency owner one time about a topic, because I don't know him, but we ran into each other. And he tried to use some buzzwords on me, and I'm like, this is my competition. This is terrible.
Yep.
And that's when I felt like I didn't feel anything towards the competition. I felt bad for the people that were paying people good money.
Yep.
And I knew with high likelihood they weren't getting what they deserved.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I felt there was a real gap in the market for.
So did you keep doing IT services alongside the SEO marketing services?
3 months, maybe 6 months tops.
Yeah.
And because that was paying some bills at the time. Not a whole lot of revenue there, but there was some. And Michaela, she was fresh out of college, and one of her things she kept telling me was, like, I got to handle the fun clients because I got to talk to people that were growing, they had goals, they had strategies. If you know anything about the IT world, to me it's terrible, because the only time, this is how she explained it to me, the only time I get to talk to people is when they're pissed off, mad, and things aren't working.
Something's broken. Yeah.
They don't call you when everything's running smooth.
Hey, I had a perfect day today. Thanks.
Yeah, my Adobe works great today. You know? Just want to let you know.
And it was a drain on her, and I felt terrible about that. I didn't like putting her in that position.
Yep.
So then that was when, all right, we're moving completely off of it.
Yep. And that's
so we little growth.
It's amazing.
Back down.
Yeah. Sure. Yep.
And then starting to growth back up.
But that's, I mean, the decisions you need to make when you've got your own business and you've got other people that are relying on you, right? So now, to your point, you saw what it was doing to your first hire, your best hire, still today your best hire.
Absolutely.
And you said we need to change something. I mean, that was the core impetus of a lot of our changes in our business over the years, as we've evolved from only doing tax work to now doing all the other things that we do in outsourcing accounting departments and payroll and all those other things, because it's like, well, if I keep doing the work that is making people miserable, even if I'm making money, I am inevitably going to be miserable, because those people are going to leave. I'm going to have turnover. I'm going to have to deal with this. Yeah. I'm going to be the one that ultimately ends up picking the phone up and dealing with those angry customers anyways. So, like, you took the Band-Aid off quick.
Yep.
It's like we see the opportunity, we're diving in, we're going head first.
Yeah.
So at that time, was it just you and Michaela? Did you have other team members?
I had a developer at the time that I had hired, but credit to Michaela as well, because I talked through it, and she very easily could have said, no, I still want to do IT somewhere.
Yep.
And I think she was young, fresh out of college. I think she graduated early, so I don't know. She might have been 21. I don't know. Yeah. She was young. But she's unwavering faith and trust in me. I don't know. Yep. It was weird. Like, I always had her back. You know, I fired clients that were rude, ignorant, to a female IT person, right?
It goes
you
a
can
long
just
way.
imagine how that is. But I have a relationship with her parents. They know that they can trust me, that I have her career and the best interest along the way. So she was willing to do that pivot with me along the way, which was huge.
Right. You just walked in one day and said, well, Michaela, we're not doing IT work anymore.
You heard of SEO?
Yeah. I need you to learn WordPress.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But she was eager. She was jumped right in.
Yep.
Was happy to do it.
So in those first few years now that you've pivoted and you're doing the marketing work, you're doing the SEO optimization, and this was from my perspective, you were the only one regionally that was focused in on this. I mean, at least from an outsider's perspective, I knew that, I could send people to marketing agency X, Y, or Z, and they would get, the content, and they'd get a nice looking website, and they get this, that, or the other. But as an accountant, as a financial person, I am in control of helping them make good decisions in their business. And what most marketing agencies of the 1900s would be doing is, let's just get brand awareness. Let's go put up billboards. Let's aggregate and buy media. Let's, get their rates down and save them some money by buying more media and having more aggregate media buying power. And there was never any proof that it worked, right? There was never any data that showed, okay, well, this is the amount of traffic that this generated. And I'm looking at the internet and I'm using social media all the time. And I'm thinking to myself, why isn't anyone doing this? You have this ability to now zero in and target the ideal target demographic and show the return on your investment. Because from an accountant's perspective, I see the line item, right? And I see the conversation we have over and over with a lot of our clients is, well, your marketing spend is in excess of 10% of your revenue. Something's ineffective. And that's largely applicable to most industries from a financial perspective.
Very good rule of thumb.
You're getting to some plateau, something's not working. Let's meet with your marketing folks and understand what's our customer acquisition cost? What does it take for us to actually be effective in our marketing strategy?
Now you're talking dirty.
Yeah.
It's up over here.
Yeah. And most people would look at me and they're like,
what's CAC mean?
no, we don't do that. They just give us money and we go spend it. That's how this traditional marketing agency works.
Yeah, it's a broken model.
It's the Yellow Pages model.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately.
But also, and by the way, of your media spend, not all of it's going to media. We're just going to take our cut off the top too.
Yeah, right. So the more you spend, the more we make too. So
all I want you to do is spend on media.
Incentives are completely misaligned in the traditional marketing agency. Because the more you spend, the
Not
more money the
misaligned,
marketing
they're converging.
They couldn't be more opposite.
Yeah.
It's I've always thought to myself, the marketing agency that comes to me and says, we're going to go out and generate more revenue for you, and we're going to be able to prove that, and you're going to pay us proportionally the additional revenue that we generate. Sounds great, right? That sounds like a no-brainer investment from my perspective. And I don't remember what client or what project we were working on at the time, or maybe it was just me observing something that you were doing with Baird Brothers or one of the local people that you work with here, and thinking, this is the future of marketing. This is going to change the game in the marketing agency world. And now you've gone through all kinds of different iterations in the marketing space. But so you grew. Something worked, right?
Yes. Too well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about that growth.
Yeah. We a lot of agencies, good or bad, grew and got shot out of a cannon during COVID, right? Because everything went digital.
Yeah.
So those agencies had to learn digital, or at least be real good at faking it.
Yep.
And that's where we just skyrocketed, because we were a digital first agency.
Yep.
Rooted in that. And to your point, we were data. I always say that we live at the intersection of creative and data.
Yep.
We don't just. I'm not big on, let's do this logo because it makes us feel good, or I think we need a refresh. Why? Why? What's the goal here?
Yep.
What are we trying to achieve? Because if an agency doesn't ask why at the beginning, then what's the target? What's the goal?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Who are you trying to attract? Do you even know who you want to attract?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the agency perspective, if you don't understand the goal, you're never going to have a successful relationship.
Unless you get
Because they can move it all the time.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Right. So it creates alignment, and it's a good relationship. So yeah, we crushed it. We along the road, it took years to get there, but we did really well. And then I think at our heyday, we never got to 30 employees, but we were 28, 29 employees. I don't know exact client count, but it was between 400 and 500 clients.
That's a lot.
With 28 employees.
Too many.
Yeah.
Way too many. And our revenue, you can imagine where our revenue is. We were 3, 4, 5 million, depending on a year. There for a couple of years, and yeah, it was great.
Well, that's when things get really difficult. I went through the same thing. Weirdly enough, we got to about 4 or 5 million in revenue, and I saw things breaking. Like it got to the point where, and I don't know if it's probably some, it's either revenue or it's employee headcount or whatever, but you get to that 30, 40, 50 employees, 4 or 5 million in revenue, you can no longer like touch everything.
Yeah.
Like before, when you had 10 employees, you can kind of have your fingers on everything. And if things go wrong, you can grab somebody and you can kind of bring them back in line. You can control things. But at 30 people, 400 or 500 clients, there are people doing things every day that you are not a part of at all.
Correct.
And if you don't have like rock solid systems, processes that make it so people understand what they should be doing, then it's like the telephone game, right? Then it's like, well, Steve told me that I should make a website. And then it goes down the line and all of a sudden, they've now created an e-commerce digital marketing strategy for a business that's not even selling anything online. It's like, how did we get here? So I'm assuming, because we chose two different paths at that 4 or 5 million mark.
Very
and
different.
And I think it was kind of the time in which we hit that mark during and or probably shortly after COVID.
Yeah, I mean, the similarities
Very
of the
in line.
timing are crazy because I came on in 2021.
Right.
Still kind of in that time frame, but that was right there.
And that
28
was
employees.
That was the time where I looked around and said, we could either scale back, get skinny, get real lean, go virtual only, and just focus on what we're good at and just kind of stay here and just refine this down and kind of essentially build a lifestyle business at that point in time. And I don't know for what reason I made the decision to go the other path, but at that point I said, all right, maybe because I'm a degenerate gambler at heart, I said, I'm going to put all the chips back on the table, right? We bought a 30,000 square foot building. We hired a COO and a CFO, and we built our own internal marketing department. And like some of those things worked, some of them didn't. But at that point, I felt like I was playing with the casino's money, right? Like we had gotten a big influx of revenue because of all the work that we did through COVID and all the things that we helped people out with. And I worked literally from 2019 to 2021, I did not take a day off. 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, whatever the hell it took. Like, it wasn't as if that money wasn't earned and it just showed up.
Right. Yeah.
But like in that moment, I said, okay, well, we're gonna go hard and we're gonna try to build something. We're gonna focus on that infrastructure and those processes and systems. But even still to this day, there are moments where I think, did I make the right decision? Right? Did I make the right decision to keep putting the pedal down and going in that direction? Or could I have just refined that business down to a smooth 3 million with 10 people and just built a nice, easy, steady gig for the rest of my life? And like, I don't know that I'll know what was the right decision until like the end. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and you probably would have been successful, and either way would have been the right way.
it's all relative.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
as long as you were all in on it.
yes, right. Yeah. So you got to that point and you felt things breaking and things weren't going right. What was the biggest red flag for you in that moment that you're like, something's got to change? Was it things at home? Was it customers being frustrated? Was it employees being frustrated? Was it just you falling out of love with what you were doing? Like, what happened?
All the above.
Yeah.
It was everything. I was really good at scaling at the time. I was scaling chaos.
Yeah.
Is what I was doing.
Yep.
And the pivotal point, well, to back up a little bit, also, not to go in too depth, but she's okay with me talking about it. For years, my wife was going through health issues. So that was pulling, probably looking back now, probably pulled a lot of my intention because I'm very focused on very granular details of how I do things.
Yep.
And I changed that perspective and that approach at iSynergy because my personal life needed the attention. Right. So there was years where she was going through some stuff. So that was my main priority.
As it should be.
That was, and at that same time, I probably allowed the company, not the office, to get a little out of control.
Yeah.
There weren't guardrails in place. There wasn't oversight. You talked
Right.
about the flat structure. Very so. 100% all my fault. It's nobody else's fault but mine.
Right.
But so to fast forward a little bit, I was driving to work one morning, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to work today. And then I'm like, if I'm driving to work and I don't want to come in, what's everyone else thinking?
Right.
And I still remember the drive myself, and I sat in a parking lot and I'm like, a few choice words for myself. And I'm like, yep, what now? Yep. Something's got to change. Mm-hmm. And that's it. It wasn't like that day where,
sure.
I'm not that hot-headed.
Yeah.
But
so how long ago was this?
That was 22.
So we had gotten
22,
kind of the other side of COVID.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just now.
In my world, in our world, people had come back to the traditional marketing. We were having meetings in person again, that type of stuff. But yeah, it was 22, 23, right in there. And that's when I decided things need to change.
So how many people were on the team at the time?
That was at our peak, high 20s.
High 20s?
Yeah.
And you guys are down to?
12.
12 people.
Yep.
Still in the office in Canfield?
Yep, correct.
And so what has changed? So from 2022 to 2026, obviously the headcount looks different. Mm-hmm. There's less people that are working there.
Revenue's much different.
What else has changed?
It is, the growth, I wasn't equipped enough to handle that growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't have policies in place. Mm-hmm. And looking back on all of it now, it was if I have had and still have one huge gap, it is in recruiting and hiring.
Yeah.
To a fault, when I tell somebody I'm going to do something, that's what I do. Mm-hmm. If I say something's going to be done by a certain time, it's done by a certain time.
Yep.
I project that onto other people when they tell me those things, and that's not always the case. Mm-hmm. So when hiring, and I'm always also looking back on my career, I wasn't qualified for the jobs that I talked my way into. So I'm always looking for that person to give a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
This person, a lot of similarities to me, might not have went the popular course of getting a degree, little minor things. Yeah. So I just want to be able to give that person their shot to prove that they can do it.
Right.
Terrible business practice.
Yeah, not great.
But I can't. At my core, that's kind of who I am. And I like trusting people because I like people to trust me. Mm-hmm. And I had a boss a long time ago tell me that the people you should trust the least are the people that trust you the least, because they know they can't be trusted themselves and they project that onto other people. Yep. So I never want people to think about me as, oh, he doesn't trust you. He oversees you. He micromanages. So I always, to a fault, will give somebody more trust than maybe they deserve. And allow them to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
What's the batting average on that, right? I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to have. I mean, sometimes the outcome is bad, right? But really bad.
I got some
bad
unicorns
300
along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some successes in there, right?
Yeah,
there have to be.
There definitely are.
Yeah.
From the oddest places too, but yeah, it's way less than 300.
Really?
Yeah, it's way less than 300.
Yeah, and I mean that's
along that term during the growth too. I didn't say that when I started. I kind of have a contrarian mindset. I don't like following in line. I like standing out. I like going against the grain. So I heard something growing up, and it stuck with me. I don't know why, but when I started iSynergy, one of my goals, and because I heard it when we're going to date ourselves really well here, when MTV started. The number one rule, if you even know what MTV is.
I'm 42.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's older than me. He is.
Jeez.
I'll take it.
The number one rule to work for MTV when they started is you could not have TV experience.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So all their first hires, because they didn't want to be a television station in the traditional sense. So I'm like, I saw everything that was wrong with marketing agencies in our region. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be like them, so I'm never going to hire anybody that has agency experience.
Right.
Which was great because I got all these great
new ideas.
The bad thing about those outside new ideas is 99% of them were terrible because they weren't rooted in experience. Right? So what I did in 2019, 2018, in that time frame is I took that role away.
Yeah.
So I started hiring people that then I would lean on their experience and use them as like trusted advisors within the company.
Yeah.
So that's something. Yeah, it's when we talk about the flat structure. I had tried putting department heads in place, and it comes back to my hiring ability, that I wasn't hiring the right people to do the right job. Right people, I was putting in the wrong positions. And that's on me.
Yeah, and that's there's two really great things that you're saying in all of this. Number one is that's on me. Every good entrepreneur, whatever mistake is happening in your business, whether you did it or not, it's on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yep. But I mean, just understanding what are the right seats in your business and what are the right people in those seats. Because you can have the right people, putting them in the wrong seats, it doesn't work. It's got to be the right people in the right seats. Yeah. And that's the only way that the bus stays on the road, man. I mean, and you kind of highlighted in your conversation with Will a little bit about one of my favorite lines, revenue is vanity and profit is sanity. And what exactly were you doing wrong during that period of time that you were just chasing top line revenue and not paying attention to the bottom line?
I didn't have in our world, I try giving myself an excuse, but in our world, things change day to day to day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Literally, we can have an SOP for a deliverable. We could do it today, tomorrow, it's out of date. 50% of it needs updated.
Yep.
Just the way our platforms and technology evolves. So I say that as my bullshit excuse that I wasn't good at processes, and I masqueraded behind permanent beta, that mindset, to always re-audit, which was good as a mindset. It's great. As a operational procedure, it's terrible. Right. Yeah. So it can't be the North Star, but it needs to be a mindset of how you go through business. And that was a huge thing for us. I didn't have the processes in place for that.
Well, I mean, the risk of permanent beta is that you create burnout, because if you're always in this always improving mindset, it's great to be able to stay in that always improving mindset, but the goalposts are always changing. Right.
100%.
And I've learned that over the years because I've watched people through a lot of interesting years of growth of our business and growth of our clients' businesses, where I see people getting burnout. And it's not just from working too much, because I see people that are working their tails off for years and they're not burnt out. And then I see people that are working their tails off in these other areas and they get burnt out. And I've spent a lot of time like asking questions and understanding the why behind it. And ultimately it's because they don't know where they're going. Like they don't know where the finish line is. They don't know where the goalposts are. They're just always trying to improve. And then you're just hypercritical of yourself at all times. And it's a tough thing to stay in that zone. So my favorite thing to add a third piece to your quote: revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is reality. Like that's the final piece of that equation, because it's one thing if you can generate the revenue. It's another thing if you can show a profit in your business. But if you don't have the cash and the cash isn't trailing that, then you've got a big problem.
Yeah, for
right.
Sure.
So
it's trash till it's cash.
It's trash till it's cash.
Yeah, that's a motto that will always be
put it on a
applicable
t-shirt
in our
it's
world.
A real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was doing, we were recreating the wheel with every new client, which isn't.
Can't scale that, right? At some
Not.
point.
Can't scale it. Nobody ever gets comfortable.
Yep.
Because they're always needing to be at 100%.
It's like Myles Garrett. He's always on the field.
That's right.
Always try, that's how you get
call iSynergy the Browns, because we might have to step up.
No way. But that's what I think about. Somebody who's like, man, I don't know when I'm going to get a break on some of this, right? It's going to be on me. And I know I got some other people around, but they're probably feeling the same way to an extent. Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah. So it was, I say I was bad at hiring, not because I had bad employees and bad hires. I didn't have the right infrastructure for those employees to succeed. And I didn't have the right processes in place for them to feel successful, and I was burning them out. So that is at its core my number one, and I'm still trying to get better at it. It's just not something I'm good at. Is unbiased qualification and hiring.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, I think the simplest thing that I have done along the way is I stopped doing it.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to do. I'm phasing myself out. I'm trying to put a
at a
framework
certain
in place
point,
that they can take it and run.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you've got to identify what the things that you're not good at, and like be okay with it, and just say, I'm not good at accounting. I'm going to call Tim to take care of it. I'm not good at HR. I'm going to go hire somebody. I'm going to be okay with making less money in the short term, because I know that if I get somebody good doing that job, we're going to make more money. And even if we don't make more money, I'm going to have a better quality of life.
For sure.
Like that was always the mindset. It's just,
about a year ago, I started, I forget where I heard it or saw it, or I tried to educate myself. And it was eye-opening, where they said you should look at your employees like clients and look at the lifetime value of your employees. And it was in the context of spending money to recruit and find the right employees, because you spend that money if you just organically get people, but they're B+ players, or you have a B+ organization, as opposed to if you have an A+ organization, you spend some money, you get those A+ players, you're going to recoup that money. So the ROI on that employee is through the roof.
It's tough. I mean, the secret sauce of that, I mean, to me, is kind of like SEO. Like, somebody who does that really, really well has to have some data. They have to have the right tools in place. And I know personally I'm bad at it too.
Well, I mean,
just no one.
You've gotten to watch us go through it in our organization. I mean, you started in 2021, and we made a lot of really difficult decisions in that following 5 years, whether it was, partnering with the right private equity partner, whether it was making those decisions about, hey, I've got some B- players on the team that they're good enough, but I am, again, on a relentless pursuit of creating value. So if I am okay in accepting B-, then everybody's ultimately going to turn into B-. Even if you've got A+ players on the team, they're eventually, and that's what we saw happening, was those A+ people were looking at me saying, Tim, why are you allowing this to happen?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a factor.
I mean,
absolutely.
The great people are staring at you every day saying, Steve,
private conversations.
What are you doing here?
I don't want to talk about so-and-so, but
It's a factor of growth, though, at the end of the day.
Sure.
When you grow, when I started, we had 28 people. Now we have 65. Now we're up to 90, whatever that looks like. As soon as you keep adding more and more on. I remember when I first started, it's like, everyone we hire is good. I'm like, man, I came from a company with 1,000 employees, and that wasn't the case, right? I mean, you tried, but it was hard to continue to find that next great person every single time. And then you start to feel that over time as you get bigger and bigger. So it's tough.
So there's some lesson to take from this, Steve, for those that have made it this far into the podcast and are still hanging out with us, is like this happens every day. Like there are people that are pulling into their business like you were and saying, I don't want to go into work. I hate going to work. You built your own prison, essentially, right? And what people need to hear the story of is that they can get out of their own prison. They built it, therefore they can tear it down and rebuild something else. Even if that something else is not great, it's better than prison, right? So what happened after that decision? Like, what did you do that made you, how did you evaluate people to determine, okay, we're gonna cut, a dozen people, we're gonna fire clients, we're gonna, like, what was next in that step?
The very first step with us was clients. We bucketed our clients. We had like 5 different buckets. And from there, because I didn't know what staff we were going to need to be able to fill capacity for our current client base. So we bucketed those clients. We didn't break up with them, but kind of said, we framed it.
We're not good at this.
We changed our model a little bit too, because we stopped going from, and this is kind of what you alluded to a little bit ago, is we stopped being a tactical execution firm where somebody would come to us and say, hey, can you handle social media? Yep, we can do that.
Yep.
We stopped taking on those, and we only started taking on clients where we could handle the entire rev system.
Yep.
For whatever you want to call the department, revenue generating system, acquisition department, growth department, whatever that is. In order for a good agency to have a real impact and to be able to have attribution across all channels and across what I'm charging you, I need to be involved in those conversations.
Correct.
So we that's how we changed our offering. We trimmed down low, which was hard.
Yeah.
Because again, I still didn't have a whole lot of confidence in the other places where people could go that I have now. These clients are now my friends. I told you I was a relationship person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have people that aren't clients of mine anymore, but I still probably talk to once a week.
Yep.
Just to BS them because that's what they evolve into.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hard.
Yep. Did you have any on the other end though, when you were kind of excited to say goodbye?
Not me personally, but there was definitely inside four walls.
Yeah. Sure.
Yes,
yeah.
There definitely were.
We don't need to name names.
Unless you want to.
And it wasn't too much. Like I was pretty good. Like I have a sign in my conference room, and it's the very first thing people see if they ever come into our office, and it says, "We don't work with assholes. We don't work for assholes." Right there, and that's the very first thing people see. So if somebody comes across the wrong way, like even back then, I really wouldn't take them. Now I won't even accept a call with them.
Yeah.
But so there weren't a ton of those. There might have been one here or there, but not too many. So that was the first thing we did. Understand
client-based
our
management. So
Yeah.
you just kind of went through and said, what are the clients that we like working with? What are the clients that we know how to work with? We know we're providing value. We know we're making money.
Potentially, we're only doing this, but I'm going to have a conversation to try and transition them to our full model. So looked at them less as a client, more as an opportunity to re-engage from a sales perspective. And then there was, we didn't like, weren't profitable, got rid of them. Weren't profitable, but we liked. Somebody want to hang on to them. It was like, it was old fraternity days. Somebody want to put their hand up for them to try and keep them around, you know? Okay. Otherwise, then we just started peeling them off, and we didn't do it all at once. We did like one bucket 1 month. The next month we did the next bucket, just so it wasn't just, that shock internally to the staff. And there was a lot of explaining to the staff, which I probably could have done a better job because I'm not too good at being secretive. I'm pretty blunt and straightforward with what's going on. Probably to a fault inside the office. So they probably understood what was going to be the second step after clients. And I didn't allow for that. So I created not some hostility, but some uneasiness, uncertainness, which was not probably. Then when I started seeing that, then I escalated a timeline ahead because I saw my misstep, and I didn't want anybody going through that, good or bad, either way.
Because you don't know. I mean, when you make that kind of a life-altering decision and a business-altering decision, you just kind of have to start by starting, and like you got to take that step and do the things you need to do, and then everything else is going to kind of work itself out along the way. But there is that human element involved here, is that you pull into your office every day and you see the cars in the parking lot, that those people are depending upon this business. So that's a tremendous amount of pressure to go through. And then when you feel that kind of vibe going on in your office too, it's like, well, these people are just kind of waiting.
Yeah. I felt like I was failing them.
Yeah.
That's where I felt out. Yeah. It's my wife. She's a saint. But whenever we talk about finances at home, like she handles everything. And she's like, she has questions. I'm like, honey, I don't care. Just do what needs to be done.
Right.
I'm like, you have one house to think about. When I'm at work, I have 25 houses to think about.
Yep.
So like that's where, good or bad, but that was kind of my mindset. That's where I was at the time, because I felt so obligated to be successful for the people that were committed to me.
Yep.
They weren't committed to the clients.
But meanwhile, you were building your own prison.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I can't relate more to that over that period of time where I was only motivated by those people. I had built what I
revenue I didn't get.
Everything was great.
Didn't bother me.
Yeah. Right.
Didn't care.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Well, and now you're to the other side of it, largely, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you feel like,
completely.
You're in a place now where, the team that has stuck around now, of the team that you have in place, were all of those people with you ahead of this process, or are there a good bit of new faces?
one new face.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
So they wrote it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they ultimately got the message at the end of the day was we're doing this for the good of all of us.
Yeah.
And it may not feel that way at the beginning because we're letting go of clients, we're letting go of relationships, we're walking away from some things that I know we worked hard to gain, but like we have to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And I had a couple key people in the office that worked through those decisions with me.
Yep.
It wasn't just me putting those clients in the buckets. You know, there was a few key people that you know that I respect and rely on every single day, that they needed to be part of the process.
Yeah, right. And that's one of the things we talk about a lot, and not only on the pod, but you know, with clients too, is that creating equity with your team members can happen in a variety of different ways. It doesn't have to happen by them having ownership or stock certificates or K1s or this, that, or the other. Like, if you're just giving them a seat at the table and allowing them to participate in those conversations, then that creates equity. And now that person that went through that with you has equity in that business because they made the decision about what you're going to be in the future. Right.
Yep. Yeah. They're invested in the future with us.
Now, hindsight's always 20/20, right? You know, is there anything that you look back at through that process and say, I wish I wouldn't have done that, and it has caused any problems today as a result of some of those decisions that you made?
No, I'm not a very regretful person, but I feel bad about there's few people. We let go of some people. Other people saw it and started moving on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely 1-2 people where I wouldn't have let them go. I would have liked them to stick around. So what I regret is not the people that I let go. It's the creation of the environment where the people I wanted to stay didn't feel comfortable and didn't stick it out. Not that I'm not saying that in a bad way for them.
Yeah, right.
They did what was best for them.
Yep.
And they made a pivot and they made a change. I feel terrible that I created that chaos where the good employees didn't feel comfortable and didn't have the staying power to stick around.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And
Because again, it's on me.
Yep.
No one, anything with my business has ever done anything that has caused us not to be successful or to elongate our success timeline. It's 100%, it's my control.
Yeah. I mean, the failures are your fault. The successes are theirs.
Absolutely.
And that's the mentality that you have to embrace. So one thing I want to touch on before we wrap up, because again, there's a lot of things, Steve, that you and I have not really worked a tremendous amount together over the years, but have just observed one another from afar in our own different kind of spaces. And we've always been very passionate about supporting the things that our people are passionate about. And whether that be, we had a nonprofit matching program for years where our employees would pick their favorite nonprofit and we would match a certain amount of contributions throughout the year. And I know that just recently I got a message from you about a project that Michaela's working on, Playground.
Yes.
And we have a mutual friend or through a few people that was in a similar space. Our buddy Kip that built the playground up in Solon and his son's honor. And I know that this is now Michaela's big thing, and she's been on this for a minute now.
Years.
I know that she's been passed. So tell us a little bit about this, if we can share that message a little bit too.
It's down at Firestone Park. Michaela, born and raised Columbiana. She is Mrs. Columbiana. Her mother was a teacher in the school district. She knows everybody. She lives there. So there was a playground that was built called Funland back in the 90s. Was not falling apart, but it was past its time.
Sure.
Right. So
things fall apart at about 30 years old, from what I hear.
Unfortunately.
So she headed up she's the president of the organization. They started a nonprofit to create an all-inclusive playground.
Nice.
For, and I'm not going to use the correct PR terms, but disadvantaged children, handicapped children,
Yep.
all those sensory type of pieces. So she's been heading that up. I think it's close to $1 million that she needed to raise.
Yeah.
They're very close to
It's
getting
amazing.
there.
Yeah.
That's why my appeal I sent out to you.
Yep.
I think it was only the second time I've ever sent an email out to my professional network asking for help.
Yeah.
Asking to get behind a cause.
Yep.
The other time is I sat on the Habitat for Humanity board for years, and I did send one out for a fundraiser we were doing for that. But this one was very dear to my heart. I know Michaela. I knew her when she was fresh out of college. I've seen her get married. I've seen her build a house. I've seen her 2 daughters. She's babysat my kids. Our kids hang out at the office because we're child friendly in office. They just know each other, and it's just she's part of my family. She's like my little sister at this point in time.
That's awesome.
She just went to my son's wedding down in North Carolina. She got invited because my son was like, "Of course, I've known Michaela my whole life. Why didn't she come?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She was always the
Such
one
a
yelling
great
at us at
story.
the office,
Yeah.
telling us to shut up. Our dad's on a call, you know. So it's something that if anybody listening can get behind, and $1, $5, anything, it would be very much appreciated by her and the community down there. What they're trying to do.
What's the website that people can go to?
It is. I think it's playatfirestone.org or .com, but I'll get it to you so we can make sure you put it on.
We'll make sure we get it out there too.
I appreciate that.
That's
And
great.
I mean, we've seen the impact of that through Kip's journey.
Yeah.
And the story of how Kip lost his son Sebastian, and the kid was just literally the goofiest, happiest kid in the world, and that's all he wanted for other people. And the idea of building this all-inclusive playground is, and I never really thought about this, is that if you're handicapped or you don't have the ability to play like other kids, what ends up happening is that there are places for you to go play, but they're not with other kids. Right?
Yeah.
So like all of that equipment, there's a whole
Creating
industry
separation,
surrounded by creating these types of pieces of equipment where all kids can play together regardless of their capabilities. Yes. And I know that the Walnut Grove here in Canfield has been an amazing place. Is always slamming. There's always a ton of kids.
When it's cold,
there.
it's raining. I drive by, it's just packed.
Kind of the model that they trying to emulate.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Just the final piece to wrap up, where's the best place for people to follow what you're up to, social media, website, any of that stuff?
Yeah, I'm not too fun to watch.
Other podcasts, maybe.
Yep. iSynergy.io. It's a website. SteveCross.wtf. That's where that's where I have all my stuff and my podcast success stories. It's where it kind of lives at. So, and I'm also on LinkedIn. Steve Cross WTF. Basically, every social platform.
That's great.
Yep. Thanks for hanging with us, man.
Hey, appreciate the invite. Thanks for having me on. Very fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. This podcast wouldn't be possible without Stonefruit Studios and Bentley Studios. If you'd like to support the podcast, the most impactful thing you can do is subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and leave a review and/or comment. If you found this episode particularly helpful, we also encourage you to share it with a friend or on social media. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and failing forward.